Academia Vlog Report. If you're new to this series, these videos are where I summarize what the Trump administration has been doing to higher education and how colleges and universities have responded. Here are the latest developments since our last video as of today, April 15th, 2025. I've organized items into two categories today: federal actions and academic responses. There'll be copious links in the show notes, along with a link to all the recordings in this series. Let's begin at the federal level. The Trump administration is apparently trying to get a consent decree for its involvement in Columbia University's operations. This would set up a judge to enforce the agreement already in place for at least several years to come. Also at Columbia, a Louisiana judge ruled that the Trump administration can deport recent graduate Mahmoud Khalil as a security risk. The journal Nature published an article analyzing cuts to National Institute for Health research funding. To date, almost 800 grant-funded research projects have been shut down, totaling more than $2.3 billion. Leading research topics include HIV/AIDS, transgender health, COVID, and climate change. Cuts hit red and blue states alike. The Trump administration also proposed cuts to NASA's science research. According to an Ars Technica report, quote, after the agency received $7.5 billion in science for fiscal year 2025, the Trump administration has proposed a science top-line budget of just $3.9 billion for the coming fiscal year, unquote. More cuts came to the National Science Foundation, reducing its NSF graduate fellowship program enrollment by half, from 2,000 researchers to 1,000. And meanwhile, the Department of State could not produce any evidence to support their assertions that Tufts University student Rumeysa Ozturk, who had been detained by ICE, had committed any anti-Semitic actions or taken any pro-terrorist positions. Deportations and visa revocations of international students continue. According to the Inside Higher Education Tracker, quote, over 180 colleges and universities have identified nearly 1,200 international students and research graduates who have had their legal status changed by the State Department, unquote. The number is probably much higher than that. For example, the department revoked several dozen Johns Hopkins University students' visas. The Department of Homeland Security continues its efforts to identify people it deems problematic. Its Citizenship and Immigration Services Office announced it would screen immigrants' social media profiles for, quote, content that indicates an alien endorsing, espousing, promoting, or supporting anti-Semitic terrorism, anti-Semitic terrorist organizations, or other anti-Semitic activity as a negative factor in any USCIS discretionary analysis when adjudicating immigration benefit requests, unquote. In previous videos, I paused to read the names of academics seized or threatened with deportation by these offices. The names of people like Rasha Alaway, Yunsei Chung, Alariza Durudi, Dokukan Gunaidan, Mahmoud Khalil, Laka Gordia, Rumeysa Ozturk, Ksenia Petrova, Rajnani Srinivasan, Badr Khan Suri, Mamudu Tal. Many more names have not been made public so far, but it looks like the total will soon be too many for me to read out loud. Elsewhere in the federal government, the Department of Energy capped indirect research cost reimbursement at 15%. At the levels of state governments, the University of Florida, the University of Central Florida, the University of South Florida agreed to have their respective police and security forces work with ICE to deport students. Also in Florida, that state's government ordered universities to share documentation on faculty research over the past 6 years. Climate change is another Trump target, one that he's gone after in multiple ways. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration re-fired hundreds of probationary researchers after a judicial ruling approved it. The Environmental Protection Agency is planning to reduce carbon dioxide reporting requirements for industry, making it more difficult to understand CO2 emissions. Now over to reactions. There is a lot of academic silence in response to the Trump administration's actions, as well as silence from academically adjacent people and enterprises. But there is also protest, resistance, and action. There are also other responses from across American society. Two unnamed researchers withdrew an article in evolutionary biology because, as the Washington Post observes, quote, one had just lost a job because of a canceled government grant, the other feared a similar fate if they went ahead with their paper, unquote. Meanwhile, the struggle between Harvard University and the Trump administration intensified. The Department of Education, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the General Service Administration sent Harvard a letter demanding the campus take a series of actions, from surveying faculty, staff, and student political beliefs to changing the university's governance structure, hiring, and admissions, as well as ending all DEI work. There's a link to that letter in the show notes. Harvard President Garber issued a public statement refusing to comply, whereupon the government suspended $2.2 billion in grants, and President Trump mused about changing the university's tax-exempt status. Quote, "Perhaps Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status and be taxed as a political entity if it keeps pushing political, ideological, and terrorist-inspired supporting sickness," unquote. In New York, the CUNY group, Faculty and Staff for Justice in Palestine, called for academics to boycott Columbia University. As of today, 81 organizations and more than 2,000 individuals have signed a petition in agreement. A coalition is planning a day of labor action this April 17th, this Thursday. Lawsuits over the Trump administration's actions continue. Cornell University sued the government in response to the aforementioned Department of Energy funding freeze. Several governments have issued new advice to students traveling to the U.S. Some Australian academics have decided not to attend American conferences out of fear of being detained. In Canada, Toronto's University Health Network, a research group affiliated with the University of Toronto, announced it would attempt to recruit 100 scientists, particularly from the United States. The University of Manitoba professors called on the next government to expand research funding in the wake of American cuts. Quote, "Canada must act to protect our own scientific capacity and to start filling the void that has been created in global science leadership and innovation," unquote. A void. To summarize, the Trump administration is continuing to go after higher education through multiple government offices and in many ways, from funding cuts to deportations and interfering in now several universities' autonomy. Academics are feeling impacts across the nation and elsewhere in the world. Members of the American academic community are starting to react in public, from issuing statements and holding demonstrations to filing lawsuits. Deportations of students are rising. I can't believe that I have to say some students are in federal custody while others are hiding from authorities, but that is where we are in April 2025. I hope this video summary has been of use to you. Please share your thoughts, additions, and other reactions to the comment box below. If you don't feel you can comment publicly, please reach out to me directly through the contact link at the end of today's show notes. Given the pace of events, I'll try to post these videos more frequently. This is a rough, dark time for those of us in higher education. It seems likely to get worse. I hope we can help each other out and fight. Please take care, everyone.